Anyway, what I want to talk about today is the Declaration of Independence. It's a magnificent declaration. I want to read a portion of it to you to start off with here. Since this is the 4th of July weekend, it's very appropriate, I think. See if I can get it to come up here. So, this was the Second Continental Congress, and this happened to be July 4th, 1776. And it starts out, it says, in Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind require that they should declare the cause which impel them to the separation. And this is the most magnificent statement here. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, and so on and so forth. And it's a very significant document in this nation. This was during the Revolutionary War, which took place between 1775 and 1783. This was in the second year of the war. And Thomas Jefferson was the lead author of this declaration. The 13 colonies asked him to draft this document, the Declaration, and it was changed a few times before it was finally signed on July 4th, 1776. There were 53 others who signed besides Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin. And a number of those signers died during the Revolutionary War. It was authored and signed by representatives of all 13 colonies and listed 27 grievances against King George III of England. Interestingly, the Declaration was made to create equal rights for all. If it was intended for only certain peoples or persons, as we would now say, or whatever, they would have left this statement in there that originally Thomas Jefferson had in the original document, but was taken out. And it would have said the rights of Englishmen instead of all people, or all, what does it say, self-evident that all men are created equal. It would have said the rights of Englishmen. And Abraham Lincoln, probably one of our most famous, if not the most famous, presidents, thought this was the highest and most important declaration that's ever been made at that time. And we know, brethren, that this nation's been on a course that hasn't been following the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution that we have. It's very interesting how things have changed over the course of time here in the recent past, that how all these things are now despised. In the National Archives Rotunda, where the original document, the original Declaration of Independence, is displayed along with the Constitution, there's now a sign warning people that you may be offended by what you read here. It's just unbelievable what has taken place. And if any of these signers of this document were to come back at this time and see what's going on and see all that travesty and disregard for true human rights, they would just be aghast. So, brethren, it's just a remarkable document, and yet now it is held in disregard. The nation is falling quickly. And as Mr. Luker used to say, when God takes away his protection, we won't last long at all. We will become just as any other nation. So, brethren, we know that God instituted and brought to pass this nation, separating Manasseh from Ephraim. It was pointed out, and I shouldn't say pointed out, but was declared to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, and his sons. And that the two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, one would become a great company of nations, and the other would become a great nation. We're very privileged to live in that great nation, the greatest of nations. But we must look forward, and it's interesting. We used to be a country that looked forward. We used to be a country that was always aspiring to new heights. Let's do this, let's do that. We can do this, we can do that. Now all we're doing is looking over our shoulder and saying, that was wrong, this is wrong. Everything's got to be changed. We've become a nation of navel gazers, so to speak, instead of being a nation of forward-thinking, forward-looking, and striving to live by God's law. But, of course, now God's law is what is thought is totally wrong, and that is what has happened. What is right is now wrong, and what is wrong is now right. And we see it in all facets, and it's just so disgusting to see what's going on. Men and boys in girls' bathrooms, men and boys in girls' sports, murder of innocent babies. It's just horrendous. But we know our true freedom is in knowing God's ways, God's truth, and having God's Holy Spirit. You know, it's summed up really very well here in John 8:31. Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." God's truth, God's promises, they make us free, don't we? In a sense, that spiritual truth, that spiritual knowledge, is true freedom. And it reminds me of a man that was being tortured during World War II, heavily tortured. And he was Jewish, and he was being tortured. And it just drove the SS, the Nazis, crazy that were torturing, because he said, "You can have my body, you can have my physical body, but you'll never have my mind." And he was tortured to death, but he never gave in. Brethren, do we give in to Satan's ways and his hatred? I don't think we do. I hope not. I hope we remain steadfast, looking to God and Jesus Christ for true freedom. For true freedom is with them, not with man. Man does not know the way to peace. So, brethren, please remember John 8:31. If you abide in me, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And it's so good to have John Petrosor here today, so I'm really looking forward to hearing from him. So thank you, brethren. Have a good Sabbath. Take care.